All right, Cloud Code and how to implement tool use in Cloud Code, which takes you to the next level. If you're working on AI and you're using maybe Cloud Code CLI or using it in Cursor, using any kind of agent to write code for you, this is like that next step. The thing is, tool use has been out for several years now, and it's been very powerful capability that nobody's using. It's really surprising that nobody is. And the reason why it's so important to use this technology is because you've interacted with AI models. They're non-deterministic in many of the cases. And in many of the scenarios, you ask it of text and it prints out text, which is not consistent in a way that can enable you to automate a process of some sort. You want to be able to automate systems, and you can do that with tool use because it gives you a guaranteed, consistent response every single time that you interact with the AI. By requiring the AI to provide, it's like you basically force the AI to respond to you in a JSON format that you specify in your own direct, dedicated specification. And you do that with tool use. The great news is Cloud Code also has it. The OpenAI has it as well. And Gemini, do they have it? I don't know. They might. I haven't looked. They probably do, because this is how powerful it is. It's a really powerful system. You can even use it in OpenAI's GPT OSS open source models. Now, it's actually pretty straightforward, but it seems complicated out the start because there's a little bit of implementation challenge. The good news is you don't have to really implement it yourself because you can use the AI systems to build it for you. You just need to know what you want out of it. So let's start. We're going to start talking about how to implement tool use in Cloud Code. We're doing Cloud Code. I've been using OpenAI's tool use because they're the first to do it. They did it several years ago, and it was really powerful. And I actually use it a lot in a lot of my workflows because it gives me a guaranteed response format. So it says, so let's actually get started. We're going to read the docs first, and then we're going to try it out. We're going to open up our code terminal window here, and we will give you access to what we're working on here. So let's see, what should we call? Oh, actually, what we'll do is we'll get our folder ready to go. I'll call it we'll call it tool use. Here we go. Let's see, tool use, and then we'll open up our screen session. Now we're ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow the instructions, and we'll be able to see how it works. And how they implement it. I think basically it's standardized at this point, so you can jump in and easily use it different SDKs. So interesting. Okay, so let's start at the top. Basically, it says you get to choose your model, except these models which have been deprecated. So you don't really have a lot of choice. You can use Opus 4, Sonnet 4, or Sonnet 3.7. Those are your choices. You get 3 models with Claude. Use Claude Haiku 3.5 or Claude Q 3 for straightforward tools, but note they may infer missing parameters. All right. Well, it's saying you can use these if you want, but they won't always work. So probably your best option for tool use Sonnet 4. That's probably the ideal option here. So you get to specify client tools. Client tools are specific tools, top-level parameters for the API request. Each tool is defined include, which means that you get to define a function, essentially. Now, this is a specific task. Now, they make it sound like the AI is going to do work for you. And in a way, it does, but what you're doing is data extraction. It's really what you want. You're doing data extraction, and you're saying, I want you to, let's give an example. For instance, you have a document. You have a document that is filled with maybe a bunch of legal articles. You want to ask specific questions of those articles and get specific parameters like Boolean values. So you want to say, does this article contain a specific subject? Like let's say plants, right? So we're talking about a specific tree or something, right? So, planting in trees, and we want to see whether tomatoes are mentioned, and you want like a yes or a no. Obviously, you can do fuzzy searching, but you can also have the AI do that for you, and you can have it respond to you in a specific format of saying true or false. And that's like a very simple use case, but you can have it go even further. You can give it enumeration, so you can classify like what kind of like produce is involved in this situation. You can do a lot of things, and you want to like essentially like analyze the document in a very structured way, but you want to get the responses back in a structured way. So you have to do it using tool use, or essentially tool calling. They also call it function calling. So here's an example. This is what we'll be writing. This is like the most simple one, but also it's kind of it's not that practical. But here, in a way it is, because it's also data fetching for the model, because there's multiple approaches and multiple ideas behind it. What you really want is when you're fetching data, the model might want to collect more details, like collect more information, so then it can present it to the user. This actually is a pretty good straightforward one. So their example is get the weather. The description is get the current weather in a given location. So in a given location. And that means that there's some data extraction happening here, which means the AI model must know what the location is. It needs to extract that information provided by the user in this case, or by whatever system it's interacting with. And then you need a specific response format that is going to be used. So these are what properties are for. So you can say a location, which is a string. So it's going to be like the city, for example, the description of the city. And so the AI model will say, you can say, hey, what is the weather in San Francisco today? Now the model will be able to extract that information. Like, oh, it even says San Francisco here, like San Francisco, California. So it'll extract that information from the user's prompt and then provide it as the location as a string. And that will be a JSON parameter provided to you when the AI responds. And there's also a unit type, which is an enumeration. So you can say whether you want it in Celsius or Fahrenheit, and there's probably like a default, right? So you probably default either Celsius or Fahrenheit, and the model will get to choose one or the other, or the user can specify it. And since, this is non-deterministic text input, which is, you can parse it with regular text parsing if you want, but this is just like an example. And it does say that there is a required option of location. So if the model's unable to detect a location, then it won't call the tool. So that's one thing that's also. One of the things that's necessary, actually, I'm kind of curious to see what it would do. What would happen if you gave instructions for tool use and had a required parameter of location, but then you also force the model, because I know you can force the model. This is really important. You can forcing the tool use, because here's the deal. The AI model can choose whether it wants to call the tool or not. However, I always like to say force tool use, because I want to be able to extract certain information based on the scenario. So you can say tool choice is one of the parameters, type tool, and then you have to give it a name. So this means, in this case, that the AI will be required to respond only with tool calling, which means that it gives you exactly the response back that you're looking for under any prompt scenario. And I'm really curious to see what would happen if we forced the tool. I actually want to try it. Let's do that. Let's try to force the tool and not give it enough information. I want to try it. Let's try it out. All right, here we go. Let's see how it goes. Let's see. All right. So let's use tool use. So what we can do is we can open up so here's the deal. It is a little bit tricky to implement, but you don't really have to as much. So we can just open up Claude and ask it to do it for us. So we're going to use the Cloud Code Python SDK, which can be used you can use the Python SDK to do a lot of different things. You can use it to run queries and subagents and write workflows. And that's, but we're just going to use it for tool use today. So we will talk about tool use implementation. Here we go. All right, let's get going. So we want to ask, say, read the article and write a Python script that uses tool use to get the weather based on user prompt. And we're going to do it exactly like in the example here. Exactly like the example. Like the example provided in the document. Okay. All right. So I think we can just get started with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add required true, and we're going to try to test the Python script and see what it does. But we're not going to provide it the context that it needs to be successful. I'm actually really curious to see, is it going to work? Do you think it will? We're saying you have to give a response using the tool use, but we're not going to give it the information it needs. So I'm actually kind of curious to see what will happen. All right, while that's working on, it's on that. there's a couple other information pieces in here that we could go over. So we just look at an example. The tool getWeather expects an input object with a required location string and an optional unit, Celsius or Fahrenheit. Tool use system prompt. When you call Anthropic API use with the tools parameter, we construct a special system prompt. Oh, so they update the system prompt from the tools definitions, tool configuration. Okay, so in the system prompt, they include your tool. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that becomes like a high priority item in that case. The constructed prompt is designed to instruct the model to use the specified tools and provide necessary context for the tool to operate successfully. Interesting. Okay, so here it is. Here's how it's in the system prompt when it's supported. Hey, Amir, how's it going? Amir, what we're going to do is we are currently using Anthropic's Python SDK to use tool use. This is the coolest thing that you can do with AI models is this tool use. And it's been around for like a weather app. It is. So that's like the tutorial example for tool use. So there's several approaches or purposes behind tool use. One is you can provide more context to the model that it would not have in the first place. For example, like you just described, Amir, getting the weather. The AI model clearly doesn't have the weather at the current time because it's been trained on old data and it won't be able to know what the current weather is. But if you give it a tool to fetch that information, you can write that into the model's prompt, which is what they're describing here. And then the model can then request that information based on the user's input. So if the user says, what's the weather in San Francisco? Then the model will be able to call the system tool or at least respond in a JSON format structure that then you can use to deterministically, which means that you can guarantee that you can parse a JSON blob and convert it into, meaningful information that you can use to go fetch the weather, right? So it'll come back with a location string of San Francisco, and then you can use that to fetch the weather. And then you respond back to the model with the tool's answer, with your answer, and then the model will have the context to be able to respond to the user. So that's one approach. That's an okay approach. So that's just information fetching. That's a simple one, like reading a file, going to search on the internet for something, getting the weather, running a query in a database is another good one because you're actually having the model request information based on the user's prompt. So that's like, I would say level 1 use case for tool use. For the model to provide more context. This is fetching context, but that's not my favorite approach. That's not like the most important. You're saying you are senior developer. Can't you just ping Next.js as front and Selenium's scraper? Yeah. Yes. So you can do that. So here's the deal. It's all about data extraction. And yeah, there's a lot of approaches you can do this, but when you get a natural language user who's coming in saying, hey, I'd like to know about what the weather is in this current location. In order to parse that, you need to do data extraction. And you need the model or some system to be able to extract some like fuzzy logic from that prompt. Like you need to extract the location. And also an optional field, like for example, let's go over here. Like the unit, Celsius or Fahrenheit. And the model can extract that for you, give you that information. And now you've got a structured JSON, which you can then use to go fetch that information somewhere on the internet, like using an API to fetch that information and then provide it back to the model. And then the model can proceed onward from there. So that's just like level 1. That's just the beginning. But here's where I really like to use the model because this is where you can automate entire processes and complete workflows in your system, in your business, or in your entire project. So you can use the tools to have it provide specific tasks information for you. And then it can perform the exact task that you're looking for. So you can actually have the model do work for you. It's basically you define a schema for a model to input data. So say you have a document, like a full document of information, and you want to extract specific pieces of the format in an enum, right? An enumeration. So it can get exactly what you're looking for and always provide you JSON format. So you're just doing AI weather app that you basically ask prompt and tool. That's just the tutorial. And it extracts the information to answer the specific question in a given prompt. Yes, you got it. Amir, that's it. You totally got it. It's about data extraction. at this point. And it's really powerful because you can use it to automate systems. And this is where the biggest potential is for the problem is that it's kind of complicated because it's not obvious how you can leverage this technology. So let's go back to see where our Claude is. All right, so it built our app for us. So let's go in and open up weather tool use. This is just a demo. And we're gonna play with it because there's an option to require the model to respond, but we're gonna give it that weather. We're gonna give it no information. So I'm really curious. So this is just a demo. So we're using the Python SDK with the Anthropic. We'll probably have to pip install Anthropic SDK. And then you submit a response or submit a request. And then you say tools, and you provided the tool list, which we had here. Here we go. So here's our tool list. Oh, this is cool. It's doing chaining. So this tutorial is kind of neat. This goes through the chaining process. Check this out. So here's our tool. Get the weather, location, and other details. Then we ask the model to use the tool, and then here's the user's request. What's the weather in SF and in New York City, and what time is it there? Oh, all right. I don't know. That's I'm kind of curious to see what it's going to come back with. And then here we go. Let's actually see. So we get a response, and then we can parse that response. So here's the messages. Let me see. Let's see. Content tool use. What's it going to do? Final response. And then you can give, oh, interesting. Response. Okay, here's the response. Oh, and it's, okay, so it's giving us a demo because we don't actually have the weather data ourselves, and we won't be able to fetch that. This is just your demo. So let's run this tool and see what happens here really quick. So I'll open up another terminal window here. We're going to run it and see what it comes back with. So I'll say Python. I might have to do a pip install weather. Let's see, let it load in here. Python weather. I might not have Anthropic SDK. Yeah, see, I don't have Anthropic SDK. So let's see if we can do this really quick. Let's pip install Anthropic. All right, there it goes. And then I'm Casper. Hey, why would you use an AI for this when you can parse data from HTTP? This is just a tutorial. So we're playing with the tutorial for tool use and Cloud Code. You're totally right, Casper. You're totally right because you would never use it like this. It's like it's not really that useful. But what you would want to do is when you have a user that wants to use a tool to fetch information from, say, a database, right? So like SQL. So what you could do is you can have the model. Have fun. Oh yeah. That's the idea. We're gonna have fun with this. You can have the model request and construct SQL statements. You can give it schema, and then you can have it respond to you in an SQL format, and then you can go and fetch data from a database and gives you a report back based on the user's input, right? So then you can easily have the user jump in and not have to know SQL. So like that's another good use case for this. Like it's data fetching. For systems. So you could do it that way. Another approach is extracting data and then getting information. So basically the model has vision. It has vision over documents, and it has a long context window. So you can ask specific questions and have it use a tool to give you a specific answer. Because you have a procedure, and when you get documents, say, in a business, it sounds super sketchy. It actually works really well. So I use it. Here's how I use it. I have we have a bunch of documents, and we need to make sure that it fits a checklist item. It needs to be able to fulfill a certain goal. And if the document is missing anything, hey Zolf, well, we need coding now that AI is here. Will we need coding? So this is a good question. I think we still do. I think we're going to need it more than ever. Here's why: because we're creating more code than ever using these AI systems, and we still need humans to know what's going on underneath. For the most part, we still need help there, and there's more code than ever being created. So that means that the demand will increase for more technical developers. Yeah, that sounds right. Neat. Cool. What about a chatbot RAG system at work as well? So that's kind of what this is. It's a retrieval augmented generation, and it's done through tool use. And it's really it's the best way to do it, in my opinion, by far, hands down. You don't need to use any other kinds of you don't need a sort of an indexing engine, for example. Like you don't need a RAG, and you don't need to use cosine similarity fetch. Fuzzy searching. You can just use tool use to get the exact that you're looking for. It's really powerful. I really like. And we're going through the demo right now. That's what we're doing. We're just going through the demo. You used LangChain. Mudasar used LangChain once for the SQL generation. It was good for simple use cases, but if the data set is huge with a lot of relations, then so it's this is where tool use gets really, really powerful. You can be very specific about the schema, and you can do data extraction based on the user's prompt to get the exact precise information you're looking for, and it works really well. It's really powerful. It's a lot of fun to engineer because it gives you a guaranteed way to deterministically get the exact result you're looking for. It's really powerful. So you're integrating, Amir says, so you're integrating AI for extracting data from the user prompt and behavior and saving it to the proper way in the database, and it's then utilize it later. You got it, Amir. That's it. That's like a really powerful use case, isn't it? It's super powerful. It's especially so because we deal with a lot of documents on a regular basis in exchange with vendors and customers. We need to be able to think on those documents because they could be many, many pages. And we have a set list of criteria that's mandatory for us to validate in each of those documents. We had to have humans to go through that normally. But now we could have an AI go in and have a dedicated tool to be used for every single one of those checklist items. And you go in and you say, does this document have, a contract to duration? Does it have a duration? Right? That's like a normal question to ask of the contract. How long does it last? And then you can get back a Boolean, yes or no. The model will reply. Then you can also specify additional information to be responded back. You could say where in the document that it found that information. You can go even further to say how many months, how long the contract is. So it can be true, it's there, I found it here on this page, and it's 12 months. You just did a ton of work that normally humans would have to do. And you know how many documents go around in the world today where humans have to extract that information? It's ridiculous. It's amazing. And now these AIs are so powerful and so accurate that you can do these things. And you just ask one question at a time. And you say, here's the document, here's the tool, follow the schema, and you're good to go. And you can just loop over that. And now you've automated an entire workflow. It's so powerful. Digging out what... any free options to write back end of my code? Any free options to write back? Yes. So GPT OSS is the one. It has tool calling built in, and you can use it. GPT OSS, and it's free, and it allows you to use the OpenAI's tool SDK, and you can use the tool use for OpenAI, and it will give. It's basically the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, and it's really good at it. So you don't need to use a paid API. You can see it will generate messy output, need fine tuning, but didn't get how to do that properly. So yeah, here's the idea. You can force it to use tools. So there's a force. There's a force option. Here we go. Let me see here. Find force. Here, force tool use. Force a tool, but you can force a tool to be used, which is the best way to give you the response that you're looking for, and it'll always give it back to you in the right format. And that's why these systems are really powerful for this level of automation. It's amazing. Brendan, hey, how do you handle memory properly? Don't these guys get very large very quickly in a standard database? So yeah, you need to be able to provide specific details for each prompt, and then you need to start the prompt over. And but you only need to do it once. It's kind of like having the AI do one task at a time, and then you start over. Then you throw another task at it, and then you start over. So you don't need to worry about these large context windows. It's not a problem anymore. Or here's even how you do it. If you don't have a big enough context window, then you can just chunk the data. You just chunk through it. It's really cool. So you say you have it's a 100-page document, but your model can only support 50 pages. You split the document in half, And then you submit the tool to extract information from that document. Is there a contract duration in this document? How long does it last for? And then it'll look through that document, and it's only half the document. The model will say, no, I don't see anything. Here you go. Then you go back with the second half of the document, and then you ask the same question, and then it says, yes, here it is. It's right here. And it finds it, extracts that data, and gives it back to you. So you don't need to worry about a big context window, because you can leverage the AI model to do it in chunks. So we're already good enough. If you have a 1,000-page document, totally fine. No big deal. It works. Vic, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Suraj, hey, how's it going, Suraj? Eden, I'm sorry I panicked. You panicked and deleted your entire code base. It's unrecoverable. You owe us $500 for... Like, yeah, you used our AI and we deleted your entire code base. That's kind of user error, right? It's something like, even as a developer, you want to be careful, and you don't want to give full access to any of your code that even you're running when you're writing as a developer, let alone the AI. Ignore the AI. When you're writing code yourself, you only want to give it certain level of permissions. For example, probably you don't want to obviously give it a truncate table command. You can't run truncate table. You just can't. Or you can't run delete table. Like, there's certain things, and you can do this in like Postgres, for example. You can create a user and give it certain permissions. And so that's database management, right? So you still need to be good at database management, whether you have your development team do it for you and you give them a user to run against the database, or you give it to an AI. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. About the question that Eden asked, you can actually manage the safe environment or utility. Use permissions or tokens or roles like AWS IAM. Yes, you can use AWS IAM for sure. So that's the way to do it. All right, guys. So I have 10 minutes and I got to jump to a meeting. Actually, I have 9 minutes, but I really wanted to try this tool use thing before we go with Anthropic. All right. So we Dignot. How's it going? One friend write backend and I write the front end due to different variable names. Now getting really messy problem. Any AI solution available for it? I can't update the whole code to file. So these models, if you use Cloud Code, it's doing a really good job. And I've been impressed with how far they've come with it. Even right now, if you get it started, I was able to ask Cloud Code to run a specific task for me. It read the code that existed there, and it said, oh, you forgot to mention these other things that you also will need to make sure are there. I was like, oh, you're right. The AI model figured it out even before I did. It's getting scary good. And there's a lot of applications for it. The application for writing code is just improving so significantly just over the past few weeks. Is impressive. Yeah, use Claude Code CLI to do it. It works really well. But we have like a few minutes left here, and then I got to go to a meeting, and I really wanted to use the tool use. So let's see if we can make that happen. I think we can make it happen. So we just installed Anthropic SDK. So we say Python, and then we say weather tool. So we're just going to try the tutorial. That's all we're doing is we're trying the tutorial. And I do have the Anthropic API key in my environmental variable, so it should just work. We'll see it working here. Amir, the problem with AI is that the folder structure really, and the way how it separates, the concepts. So you're totally right. It can run really good code if you're really specific. Yeah, it is. You're totally right. You have to be very specific, but usually write everything in one file. So yeah, that's it. So what I do is, API key. Oh, okay. Here, I have. Let me paste this into our model here really quick. It's just the API key is missing. It's just because I didn't name it properly. I'll say what my environmental variable on your GPU and things like that. So GPT OSS. This is what you want, and it has tool use, so you can use it with tools. And I've used the 20 billion parameter model, and it works perfect. It works ideal for tool use. It works really well. It's amazing, and it's completely free. We're doing Anthropic today because we're just trying it out. But I noticed that I omitted X API key, so in the authorization header, which means that I need to hide my screen really quick. You can't see my screen because I'm going to double check things here. 1 second. I'm going to make sure that my API key is there, but I don't want you to see it. I don't want to expose my API key. So let's see here. Let me go back here. Let's see here. 1 second. I'm looking. I'm showing it on my screen. You can't see it. You can't see what I'm doing. RC file. Here we go. I have it defined. Anthropic. Here we go. Anthropic API key. Here we go. 1 second. I see. Okay. 1 second. I'm going to open up another window so that way I clear the history, and then I'll bring it back. Then I'll bring the screen back. You can't see the screen right now. You can't see it right now, but I only have 5 minutes left. I only have 5 minutes, and then I got to get going. I'll try running it again. Python. Here we go. Let's see if it works. I'll bring the screen back so you can see it. But if that doesn't work, then I know what to do next to make it work. One of the things is so while that's off and running, I want to see. I want to do forced tool use. So there's a thing called forced tool use. Here we go. Where did it go? Here we go. How to implement. All right. Forced. So tool choice. Okay. Tool choice in the name. That's it. So the AI model, I already gave it context. So all I have to do is say update for, oh, we've got a different error. I'll have to look at this. What's the error? Okay. Invalid request error. Message unexpected tool use ID found in tool use. Okay. So I can paste this over to our model really quick. So good news. I got the API key and it works. All right. So we're making progress, guys. We're making progress. Here we go. We'll have the AI fix this for us. It's a 400. So it was a 400 error code. We malformed our API response in our tool definition. So we can easily fix that by just asking the AI to do it for us. It's really cool. Now I want to do forced tool choice. So I want to do forced tool choice in the weather app. I think it's called Get Weather. Yeah. So we want to do that, and then I have 4 minutes left, and then I got to go to a meeting. Let's see here. Sure, go for it. Let's see if it works out. And then I'm going to see if it works. I'm pretty sure I'm going to play with it. So I want to give the model no input. I'm going to give it a bunch of random text, but I'm also going to require it to respond with a tool. I'm very curious to see what happens. What will happen?
Claude is awaiting user input.
Ooh, okay, it's ready. Let's see. Is it actually ready? It looks like it's not. Is it? I'm not sure about that. Creating custom / commands. It's still thinking. So we don't. It's not there yet. Okay. Is it done? Hold on. Let me see. ls-lsrth. 1 second. I'm gonna see. Did it update? 11. It looks like it might. Oh no. There it goes. Okay. Is it working? It's still going. It's still thinking. But I need to set the API key. Oh, there it is. Okay. Excellent. That was the other thing. All right. So we're good to go there. Oh no, don't use Sonnet 3.5. Oh, Claude. Yeah, we want to use, all right. Well, actually, let's just see how it goes here. Okay. Here we go. We will do, let's see. Is it here? Yes. All right. Rerunning. All right. 2 minutes left. You guys, we have 2 minutes, and then I got to go. We've got 2 minutes to go. We're trying it out. Is it going to work this time, or is it going to crash? Do you think? Do you think it's work, or is it going to crash? I think it might work. So while that's running, I'm going to pop open another window here, and we're going to edit the file. And I want to do forced tool use. So, okay, so, oh, no, it didn't work. 404 error. Not found message Claude. Okay. Oh, the model doesn't exist. It seems. Not found model. Yeah, the model doesn't exist. So we can fix that. Model. We want to use Claude Sonnet 4. I think we could just do that. Let's try that. Boom. We did it. Amir, I never really used the MPC server in the generative AIs. I heard that it basically summarization of some of the services to be used. Maybe a UI library or Stripe integration that the AI can use it, right? Yes. So that's actually kind of cool. There's multiple use cases for the MCP server. One of them is to help Oh, did that? Oh, I don't have that model either. Running out of time. I'll have a few minutes left. Is this JavaScript? Yeah, you're right. Oh no, this is Python. We're running Python. Canoob? Canoob, this is Python. So MCP servers can do a lot. They can do fetching information. They can submit work, or they can even perform tasks. Like you can say, hey, Claude, turn on my light bulbs in my living room. And then it will understand that. It can use the MCP server, and then the MCP server will do actual server work to make API calls to your home automation system. Oh, thank you. Claude Sonnet 4, that's the one. That's what we want. Okay. Use Claude Sonnet 4. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Canoob, isn't C++ a better way to alternative to Python though? So I'm out of time. I got. Oh, it worked. Oh, you guys, we got response. Okay. So we did get information, and then it worked part way. So look, it extracted the information. Look how cool this is. It went beyond our expectations. It went further. Look, we said SF and NYC. Look what the model did. Check this out. It gave us back San Francisco, California. And it also gave us back New York, New York. Isn't that crazy? The user submitted SF NYC, but the model knew what it was talking about. This is where the power is. This is where it makes everything better. But I do got to go. I do have to get going. Khaled, thank you. You fixed it. You fixed a problem. There's more to go. I didn't get to do the one thing that I wanted to do was force the model to do something without, but we'll do that next time.